Black holes are intergalactic Sarlacc pit monsters. Black holes eat everything that get too close and falls in. And what's everything? Well, planets, stars, asteroids, and even light. That also means if a spaceship gets too close to what is known as the black hole's event horizon, aka the point of no return, the ship and everything inside would be sucked in. And to be clear, things swallowed up by a black hole don't go through it as quickly as spicy food goes through our videos writer. So what happens when something is inside a black hole? Well, this is where things get awesome and scary. Anything eaten by a black hole goes through something called spaghettification, which is a real term. It means a planet, a galaxy, or even a human being would become super long and thin, like spaghetti noodles. This process happens molecule by molecule over millions of years. There's no two ways around it. Black holes are something we kinda wish were just science fiction. From what we know about them, black holes form when a giant star, like our sun, collapses and dies. Then, at some point, the black hole will collapse, die, and disintegrate into nothingness, along with anything being digested inside. I don't know what sounds worse, being digested over millions of years, or being flat out evaporated from time and space. Tell us in the comments below which one sounds worse to you. The Milky Way galaxy is home to our own black hole called Gaia BH1. But before you panic, this less than pleasant neighbor is about 1,500 light-years away. Sadly, NASA has confirmed that black holes are not wormholes, so going through one wouldn't instantly take you to the Delta Quadrant or anything. Still, black holes are as fascinating as they are terrifying. Saturn and Jupiter are stormy gas giants. Saturn and Jupiter have a few things in common, starting with the fact that they are physically impossible to walk on. Unlike planets like Mars or Earth, Jupiter and Saturn are mostly made up of swirling gases like hydrogen and helium, with a solid core way below in the center. It would be almost more accurate to refer to Jupiter and Saturn as failed stars rather than planets, and not in the internet famous for 10 minutes way of being a failed star. In fact, there's an extra cool fact for you about Jupiter. It could have been our galaxy's second sun. The gases that form Jupiter are the same thing that stars are made of. Jupiter just never grew big enough to ignite. So think about that. Our galaxy almost had two suns. Far below those swirling gases are ocean-like liquids, but due to extreme temperatures, no craft could survive diving into them. Neptune and Uranus are too cold. Meanwhile, Neptune and Uranus are too cold to stand on. How cold? The average daily temperature for Uranus is minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 195 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, Neptune's daily temperature is a toasty minus 330 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 200 degrees Celsius. Remember, when it comes to weather, it's not the heat that kills you, it's the humidity. The extreme temperatures of these two planets are due to their composition, which includes water, methane, and ammonia. No wonder Neptune and Uranus are known as the Milky Way galaxy's ice planets. In case you're wondering, modern spacesuits can protect an astronaut from temperatures of minus 250 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 157 degrees Celsius. On the plus side, while humanity works on technology that will get us to Neptune and Uranus, we've got time to make like an ice planet and chill. Oh, and a bonus fact for you about these two intergalactic ice balls. According to astronomers, at some point, they switched places, like high school students swapping places in a lunch line. I'd like to think Neptune and Uranus are taking turns at being closer to the sun. Cannibalism. It's not just for humans anymore. Even though it sounds like something from a comic book, cannibal galaxies are a space phenomenon that happens if a larger galaxy eats a smaller galaxy nearby. In that situation, the larger of the two will slowly eat its little sibling over the course of millions of years. In fact, NASA believes that a galaxy known as NGC 4651 ate a smaller galaxy nearby at some point. What does the galaxy eat? The building blocks of celestial life, like gases, dust, and everything else its smaller sibling is made of, which really seems like a raw deal when you think about it. Imagine it takes you billions of years to be born, and pretty much the moment you're born, your older sibling is slowly eating you. When you think about it, it's a lot like the planet-eating Marvel villain Galactus, isn't it? In fact, this might have to be a trigger warning for some, but it's believed the Andromeda Galaxy is eating the Milky Way galaxy that we're all in. However, the good news is that, like most things in the universe, we have time. Even though Andromeda is the closest galaxy to us, it's still about 2.5 million light-years away. So the resources that the galaxy takes from ours have to travel that distance. As a result, it will take several billion years for the Andromeda Milky Way galaxy to be a thing. Ever sent a package to another country and it felt like it took forever? Andromeda. It's not just the name of a disappointing entry in a beloved space RPG franchise anymore. Hey, before we continue, please give us a like and share it with all of your friends, family members, and even enemies. They might want to learn about space too. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the great content we put out. Now, back to the video. Vampire stars? Along with cannibal galaxies, our universe also has a collection of vampire stars. If forming two stars happen to be in each other's orbit, the bigger one will feed off of its smaller twin. And unlike a traditional vampire, the vampire star doesn't turn its victim into another vampire. Instead, when the smaller star is totally drained of resources like various gases, the weaker star will either disappear or go supernova and explode like a vampire that's been exposed to direct sunlight. This explosion can also create a black hole, all because of a vampire that didn't know when to stop feeding. Even though vampire stars sound like a fictional talent show for vampires, they are indeed real. There are currently several infamous vampire stars in our solar system, such as 17 Leporus and Betelgeuse. Yes, really, to name a few. If you're near any of them, it's probably best to remember the adage, protect your neck. What's in a shooting star? Depends on the color. Did you know that you could tell what a shooting star is made of based on what color its tail is? It's true. See, these shooting stars are big space rocks we call meteors, and they're made out of a murderer's row of elements like ice, iron, sodium, and magnesium, among others. Each of these elements produces a different color when the shooting star enters the Earth's atmosphere and becomes superheated. For example, suppose the trail of a shooting star is primarily the color violet. Then the star following is mostly made out of calcium. In that case, an orange tail means the star is mostly made up of sodium, and a red tail on a shooting star means the rock it's following is made up mostly of nitrogen and oxygen. So that bright color we see a shooting star produce really is an example of an immovable object. For example, air meeting the unstoppable force, aka the meteor. It's that friction that causes the space rock to go from meteor to shooting star, and eventually that shooting star will crash land on Earth and become space debris. And in extremely rare cases, the shooting star will contain the last living member of an alien race who really likes the letter S. We had to get a Superman reference there. Sorry, not sorry. Next time you see a shooting star, try to guess what it's made of, just for fun. Meteor? What about asteroids? What's the difference? Meteors and asteroids are essentially space rocks made up of various elements. Some of them are as old as the universe itself. The only real difference is the size, as asteroids tend to be bigger than meteors. Think of it like comparing a grapefruit to an orange. It's more or less the same thing. One just happens to be bigger. Put it this way, if a meteor can become a shooting star and destroy a car or a house when it crashes into Earth, an asteroid could crush a city and destroy half the planet. How big can an asteroid get? As of today, the largest asteroid observed by NASA is 329 miles, or 530 kilometers wide. For context, that's about the size of Austin, Texas. But look, the main thing is don't be afraid of the countless giant asteroids zipping around overhead. It's not like anything bad happened to our planet the last time one hit us, right? Just ask the dinosaurs. Oh, wait. The moon is lemon-shaped? The moon is in the shape of a lemon. I'll repeat that because it bears repeating. The moon is shaped like a lemon. For the most part, that's true. Experts believe that the moon's surprising shape occurred during the moon's infancy. At that point, the moon was made of molten rock that became shaped by tidal and rotational forces. As a result, our moon was left with flattened poles and bulges on both the near and far sides of the equator. However, from Earth, the moon looks perfectly round. So what gives? First, the moon's lemon-shaped dimensions aren't extreme enough to be obvious from Earth. Even though it's not a perfect sphere, the moon looks perfectly round to us due to things like distance and the Earth's atmosphere. At one point, kids wondered if the moon was made of green cheese. Thank lemons, we've grown out of that. Our galaxy has a signature scent. Did you know the Milky Way galaxy smells like raspberry-flavored rum? In 2009, astronomers explored a cloud of gas and dust that contained ethyl formate. On Earth, that chemical smells like rum and is responsible for giving raspberries their distinct taste. Meanwhile, others have described the space as smelling like burnt steak and burnt cakes. Is anyone else getting hungry? Meanwhile, astronomers also discovered a region of space that is full of ethyl alcohol, which is used to make alcoholic beverages. It sounds to me like the ISS is bound to be the location of an intergalactic kegger at some point. So now you know what the galaxy smells like. What do you think our galaxy should smell like? How many stars are there? According to the folks at NASA, the universe is believed to be home to 1 septillion stars. Nope, I didn't make up that number. It's real, and it's a 1 followed by 24 zeros. Look it up. That is a lot of stars, and keep in mind that lots of new stars are still being born. And not just thanks to TikTok, but then, lots is kind of a broad term, right? How many stars equal lots? Luckily, people smarter than this video's writer have done plenty of research to figure that out. For a quick comparison, there are thought to be more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth. Speaking of Earth, our intergalactic backyard, the Milky Way galaxy alone is home to more than 100 billion stars, including the Sun. Because of how many there are, there's a chance we might be seeing light on Earth by stars that died eons ago. If we can learn anything from stars, you're never too old to shine and be full of gas, I guess. Think of that when you look at the stars at night. We are made of stardust. Yes, you are made of stardust. Simply put, everything in the universe is made of hydrogen atoms, the same types of atoms that the Big Bang created. Human beings and stars are made up of 97% of the same type of atoms. In other words, the same chemical elements responsible for the stars in the sky are the reason you exist. In 2006, a NASA probe called Stardust returned to Earth coated in the stuff it was named after. It may not seem like much, but space sand was a huge find for NASA. For the first time ever, scientists got to study stardust that came from light years away, and it was millions of years old. And what the research turned up was game-changing. In the words of Carl Sagan, the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pies were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. We are made of star stuff. So shine like the star you are.